Welcome to The Pull Bag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pull Bag.
This yacht is bringing a revolutionary scientific invention to Gotham City. On a peaceful afternoon motor ride, millionaire Bruce Wayne and his youthful ward, Dick Grayson, have been summoned back to Wayne Manor by an urgent but anonymous call for help. The invention and its custodian are reported in grave danger aboard the yacht.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is episode 39. I am your host, TFG and Mike. Joining me once again, 2 weeks in a row, JT from Saskatoon. Hello, sir.
Holy hole in a donut. And I've gone and derailed the show already.
No, you gotta use all H's. It's like holy headgear and all, yeah.
Well, I was going to go holy rusted metal, but I hate that. No. I don't hate that movie. I hate the one following that movie. You know, when Chris O'Donnell was dressed up as Nightwing, but he kept calling himself Robin.
Alright, so folks, as I said, JT is here. This is episode 39, and this is the first time that this has happened on the Pull Bag, where we've done 2 episodes in a row as far as weeklies. Last week you heard us do Superior Spider-Man issues 17 to 19, which was the Necessary Evil 3-part arc. Hope you enjoyed that. Now we head back to the 60s. For me, obviously, I wasn't born then, but in the 80s, they constantly reran the Adam West Batman show. And it was my first exposure to superheroes on television. I say television because I don't count, 78 and 80 and 83 with the first 3 Superman films.
Yeah.
So there's that. But, I mean, Batman on TV, it was Adam West, it was Burt Ward, it was Yvonne Craig, it was Alan Napier.
Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero is the Joker. And the stories, the way that they aired this show was ingenious. You don't have this anymore.
Because the internet would explode if we did a show like this.
Oh, my God.
You know.
Well, I don't mean like the show content, because let's face it, 1960s Batman, it was meant to be this way, but it is extremely campy. But it's meant to be that way, and I get that, and I like that about it. But the thing is you don't have television shows doing structure like the 60s Batman was.
There's like a serialized type of TV nowadays, but they don't do this straight, 2-parter every week like this.
Yeah. Well, no, even back then I remember, I think, and I hope I'm not misquoting him, I remember Ralph Garman, who was a huge Adam West Batman fan. What is he? Oh, God, what is that show that he and Smith do? It's Hollywood Babylon with him and Kevin Smith. I heard a couple of episodes of Garman on Fat Man on Batman, Kevin Smith's other show, and he said that when they were airing in the 60s, they would air Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So can you imagine being a child in the 60s and having to wait a whole 24 hours to watch the conclusion of a story?
Oh,
I mean, now, now we're used to waiting, cliffhangers for week to week to week, but there hasn't been, since this show, a fully structured live-action television show like this, as far as beginning, conclusion, whether it's 2 nights a week, whether it's once a week and you have to wait a week. I mean, it was just ingenious.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, that was the great thing, and it plays to the whole, comic book-ness of the show.
Yeah.
It's... and there's stuff, it's like Adam West and Dick Ward's delivery of their lines, like, it's just something about, Batman Bruce Wayne had that very sedate sort of just rolls with it, but at the same time he's, he comes and it goes with him being excited. Robin's almost always jacked up on sugar or something, and it's the only way that I can explain Dick Ward, or sorry,
Burt Ward.
Burt Ward, sorry, Dick Grayson. Burt Ward being the way that he was in that show. And it could have been drugs. It could have just been a natural high on life. Who knows? I mean, certainly shared by many of the villains on the show. I mean,
yeah.
I remember, this was probably like my second exposure to, a comic book TV show, first being like the 1967 Spider-Man cartoon.
Man. Yeah.
But no, I mean, this has always had a huge place in my heart in terms of just being like one of those versions of Batman that, if it's on, I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they show it, and I'm not certain because I don't have the hub anymore. We just had it for a preview.
No, it's not air. I have the hub, and I have a lot of other cable channels here in Louisville, Kentucky, in the U.S. Best country in the world. No, it used to be.
It's not a political show, Mike. I'm just saying, I think it showed up on the hub.
It did for a while. Now when I've seen it, it was showing on something called Me TV, because I DVR'd the episode where Batgirl debuts, and that was just all kinds of kick-ass.
Oh God, Yvonne Craig.
I know, right?
They just don't make women like that anymore.
No, they
or
don't.
Julie Newmar. Or Lee Merriweather.
Yep.
Eartha Kitt still scares the crap out of me. But yeah, I mean, one of the coolest things I ever thought about the show is just you had these guest villains every week, and you had Mickey from goddamn Rocky as the Penguin. You had one only happened in one episode in season 2. Gomez Adams was the Riddler. Yep. Which, when I saw that, I never saw that episode until years later when I was out of high school, and I came across it on repeats on Nickelodeon's Nick at Night. It's like, what the hell happened to Gorshin?
Yeah.
And that was a
Frank
huge.
Gorshin as the Riddler might be the best Riddler we've ever had outside of John Glover voicing the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, it would be, ask who's your favorite, TV version of the Riddler. You just see my head going back and forth between Gorshin and Glover. But I mean, this is also the show's exposure to a lot of actors, that I would see them years later in something else. Like
I nearly plotzed when I saw Burgess Meredith in Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, that Burgess Meredith is the shit. I'm just gonna say it. This dude was the shit. But I mean, there's like years later, you see Roddy McDowall. This was Batman '66 was my first exposure to Vincent Price outside of a kids show that I watched. Oh yeah, as Egghead. And just hearing Vincent Price drop all the egg themed puns is like, oh, it just doesn't get any better than that. I mean. It was years later, like Frank Gorshin did an episode of CSI a few years ago, and I was like, fucking Riddler, Yeah, stuff like, it was just, this was the shit. I mean, you had, you look at the actors list on the wiki, I mean, there was, like I said, there was Eartha Kitt, Lee Merriweather, Julie Newmar, 3 different women played Catwoman, and that wasn't the only villain. There was 3 different actors that played Mr. Freeze. Over the course of the show. And certainly we'll talk about when we get to the issue, there is a modern day villain that gets a cameo, as a possibly recurring character in a later issue, and you see the 66 version of a venerable Batman institution, which I can't wait. And I mean, there's even stuff like they had a character named Falseface, which was basically this master disguise villain that whenever he wasn't disguised, he just had like one of those like like fogged plastic masks that obscured called Falseface, and they ended up using something like that in Batman Brave and the Bold, which I know you're not a huge fan of, but you look at elements like the Batmobile. Probably the most recognizable thing from this show was the basis for the Batman Brave and the Bold Batmobile.
Yeah.
It not necessarily in design, but at least in terms of coloring. And that was probably the first Batman toy I had. Is I had a, gonna say at least 7-inch long and about 4-inch wide metal recreation of the '66 Batmobile, which I abused to shit as a child. I wish you could go back in time, just like, don't be a tool.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, that's, if there's one thing that you always remember, it's that and the theme song. My God.
Yeah.
All you have to do is do one little bit of na 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 na, and somebody's like, Batman!
Yep, exactly. But for me, with the theme song, it always irked me when it wasn't the Batgirl version. Like, it's the same theme tune, but when she didn't show up each week when I was watching it in the 80s, I was like, damn, not a Batgirl episode. That sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that was probably, for me, in a lot of ways, the first Batman cartoon. Because how you have that animated bit of the intro.
Yes. The theme intro animation, yes. I completely agree. And I love that. I love how they did that. I wish that style of animation and that quality of animation in that beginning actually stuck around for the adventures of Batman and Robin in the 80s.
Yeah. Are you talking like the new adventures? Because it had a couple of different titles.
The one with Casey Kasem is Robin, yeah.
And Batmite.
The only Batmite I really enjoyed was at the very end of Brave and the Bold.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple episodes, but yeah, it was Pee Wee F. and Herman. Paul Rubens, which that dude needs more work, because, I mean, his voice work alone in Tron Legacy is like...
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was Pavel in Tron Legacy.
Pavel,
the dude with the slick back hair that was a complete douche that worked. He was like the sycophant number 2 to General Tesler.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll have to rewatch Tron Legacy. Yeah. All right, so as JT mentioned, we are here to talk about the first 4 issues of the brand new series, Batman 66, written by Jeff Parker. Artist on it, for the most part, is Jonathan Case. There are other artists that show up. But new stories inspired by the classic TV series. These books, even though right now, as of this recording, right now, there's only 4 issues out, these stories, it's just like Batman on TV, except it's 2D.
Well, yeah, and
they, just some general thoughts from me on these books before we go in depth on them. They personify the show. Every little detail of the show that you remember is here in these issues.
Oh, yeah.
For the most, the standard stuff, like, previously on Batman, or tune in next week, or, same bat time, all the, standard things are, like, when the narration starts up, I can hear that narrator voice in my head. Gotham City at noon, oh God.
And that was show creator William Dozier, who they actually gave, like, when you look in the wiki, the narrator actually has a name. Desmond Doomsday. And I was like, it's like, that was like one of the most best parts of the show. And like we were talking, when we spoke about the new Ninja Turtle comic, when I read like these issues, I hear the various actors.
Yeah.
And
when we will speak about the new Ninja Turtle comic about 20 episodes from now.
Well, we've spoken about it previously off air, so
yes.
But yeah, you hear the actors' names, like you hear Adam West, you hear Burt Ward.
Oh yeah.
And certainly in this first issue with the Riddler, you hear Gorshin's manic, like. Yeah. There is a reason why this show is so fondly remembered, and it is the actors and their intensity. I mean, as much as I love the Joker, and Cesar Romero's Joker is my favorite villain on the show. He had nothing on Frank Gorshin's intensity. Like, it is scary how strong.
Very,
Yeah,
very scary.
how strong his Riddler comes off. But yeah, it's the one thing I love about this series overall is the fact that the covers are all done by comic creator Mike Allred, who created the comic book Madman.
Mm-hmm.
And his style, like, I hope he does a full-on issue later on. And that's the thing, it's like, it's not just a print comic. See, these things, with DC, since the New 52 started, they have made this huge push towards a lot of digital exclusive comics.
Yeah, so, these are digital first and then put in print.
Yeah, so it's basically 3 digital issues in 1 print issue. So it works out to, what after every 3, so once a month, so every 3 digital issues. I hope later on Allred does like a full on, like he does a digital issue and like he does the interiors as well as the cover. Mm. And just looking like this first. The first issue, the cover it's very much
classic.
Yeah, it's an homage to the intro with Batman and Robin running and Robin's looking at Batman. Batman's got like the cape pulled over, like it's about to morph into the Batman logo. So it's a very plain cover, but it's not so plain. It's just very. Yeah. I love it because it's Mike Allred art, and this man can basically do no wrong in my eyes.
Yes. We will get into issue 1 in a moment.
Holy rusted metal, Batman!
Huh? Never ones to shirk responsibility. Bruce and Dick, with characteristic speed and resolve, descend promptly to the Batcave. And then, as they have done many times before, as Batman and Robin, courageous warriors against crime, they are off once again to the rescue.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Batmobile to airport. Red alert. Prepare Bat Copter for immediate takeoff.
So as you were saying, JT, about the cover, yeah, the cover is on issue 1 for Batman 66. The background is very plain, but I mean, it's got the classic logo. The focus is on the logo and on the characters. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need, a lot of stuff going on in the background. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. I thought the San Diego Comic-Con variant cover for this issue, which is the Mattel toy issue, cover with the Batmobile and them climbing up the wall. Oh God, that cover was so awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's not like a bad cover, just it's not. It doesn't pop the way I would hope it, the way I kind of hoped it would, shall we say?
Yeah. So this is the Riddler's Ruse, Part 1, Mirth from Above. And just these, just these narration bubbles. A special ceremony in Gotham Park. 2 of the distinguished guests are millionaire Bruce Wayne and his youthful ward, Dick Grayson. I so hear Desmond Doomsday in my head.
Oh, yeah. And it's just, you hear that, "Gosh, Batman," in Dick Ward's voice.
Yeah.
Burt Ward. See, that's how much I associate him with Robin.
I know.
But yeah, he's like, "Gosh, Bruce, the whole city's turned out for this." And as much as I love this show, there's a small part of me is like, could you sound any more of a douche? Like, and that's just my upbringing, But but I hear, Dick Ward, you hear, Bruce Wayne himself, Adam West, and it's like, "The awarding of the Lady Gotham statuette is a tremendous honor, Dick." And you got the Commissioner Gordon, you hear, I gotta look at the wiki again.
What's what?
Who played Commissioner Gordon? Neil Hamilton.
Neil
Yeah,
Hamilton.
you hear his voice. Random black dude playing the mayor. Well, it's not like they ever had a recurring mayor character in the show that I can remember.
No, it was always the Commissioner in Chief O'Hara.
Oh, don't get me started on that guy.
I like Chief O'Hara. He's Irish.
Irish, the most ineffectual Irish cop I've ever seen in a show. And there's an episode, and I'll talk about this at the end of the show about something like this, but yeah, no, you got Chief O'Hare, and they're getting this statue, and there's this low-flying biplane, and then, Bruce Wayne's the only way, that plane is flying below the Federal Aviation Administration's regular, I love what they did with Batman in this show is they made him this Renaissance man, both as Batman. Well, he had to be Batman, otherwise if he didn't know everything. But Bruce Wayne's like this Renaissance man. He knows every possible factoid and trivial tidbit, and he's the only one that plane is flying way too low.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love the art in this.
Oh yeah.
I'm used to the current day stories. And I'm not saying, well, obviously this is a current day story, but it's based on a time forgotten.
Well, it's set back then in that world.
Right, but what I'm saying is, you take an issue of this book, you take an issue of Batman 66 and put it next to Batman Death of the Family. They're two very different colorings and art styles because it's two very different eras, is my point. And normally, with colors this bright, in general, I keep flashing to, not specifically to this book or these stories, but just the colors in general. I keep flashing to the horrible neon bright colors of the Zeta Project cartoon.
Yeah,
but
it does pop.
I understand where this is coming from because it's coming from the old TV show, and the old TV show was this bright, and I love how they are reenacting these colors to be, like the TV show, and it's just simply awesome.
Yeah, no, it's the artist on this is Jonathan Case, who, if you look him up on, say, Comic Vine's a great resource for finding creators and that. He's worked in a lot of Dark Horse, horror-themed comics.
Yeah.
He's looks like he did the Free Comic Book Day issue of Buffy and the Guild a couple of years back. But yeah, no, I'm digging his art, and he's got this manner that the first time I saw it, I mistook his work for this artist named Paul Pope, who he's got this really wispy kind of style, very not necessarily clean. It's a very detailed and not something. It's not your traditional comic artist Paul Pope, which for a second I mistook Case for Pope on this. But I love the reaction when the plane's flying. And there's O'Hara, and Sharon he's littering too, just cutting his banner loose like that. And it's just, I love this show, but I just want to walk up with a bag full of oranges some days. On the most ineffectual cop. I'll just say it now. Commissioner Gordon is like an abused wife that, in this show, Commissioner Gordon is like an abused wife that keeps going back to her husband because you're the commissioner of the goddamn police force, and you constantly turn every important case over to some dude dressed up like a flying rodent. And it's just because I've read so many comics and watched the Batman TAS series where Commissioner Gordon turns to Batman when he has to, but he doesn't just, oh, well, Batman's on the case, let's go for coffee.
But you have to understand, though, is that even on the show, Batman and Robin were celebrities. Anywhere they go, people know them. And we'll get to something where I have a problem with that a little bit later. But
I know. It's just something I've never really been able to reconcile.
No, I know, and I get it. But you gotta realize, though, that it's part of the style of the show that it is. Now, sure, Commissioner Gordon here kind of needs a little prodding, but I mean, you might as well electrocute Chief O'Hara for him to understand anything. At least Gordon kind of comes around after Batman could say one sentence, and Gordon's like, "Aha, I have it," and Chief O'Hara would just be like, "Do, I'm eating my Lucky Charms over here."
Well, true, and we'll get back to the actual comics thing, and I just gotta say this: there was an episode in the series where O'Hara's like, "Oh, sure, maybe we should be handling this case, Commissioner." And, it's like, "Hey, let's actually be cops." And Commissioner Gordon turns around and basically says, "You shut your whore mouth."
He did not say that.
He didn't say that, but that was the attitude, because it's like, how dare you fucking take crime out of the mouth of Batman? Like, it's just, that's what I don't get, is like, Commissioner Gordon is like the most, and then there was the surfing episode, and the less said about those two in that one, the better. But that was the attitude, is like, O'Hara's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go be a real cop," and Commissioner O'Hara is, "Don't you fucking dare. You don't take this shit from Batman, son."
Harvey Bullock is a more competent cop than Chief O'Hara.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's the Irish cop stereotype, because for some reason they felt they had to have this in the show.
Yeah.
And, Batman has his Robin and Gordon has his O'Hara, so.
I will say it was a little strange on the art that a page after the plane scene a little bit, it's the panel where Batman unhinges something from his cape and his whole cape becomes like a hang glider. I don't remember Batman in the show doing something like this with cape being that big, with the wingspan being that big. I'm not saying I don't like it here. I'm just saying when I first read this, I'm like, wait a second.
Did you really have to rip off Batman Returns? Well, okay, granted, it's inspired.
Wasn't quite there, but
well, that's what it was. I mean, it's like Batman in the show. The biggest thing that he ever pulled out of his utility belt was the
shark repellent.
No, the bulletproof bat shield, which somehow collapses down into something small enough that it fits into his utility belt. Yeah. Which, again, suspension of disbelief. But yeah, and we should mention the story in this issue is that the Riddler has stolen, at least so far in this part of the issue, the Riddler has stolen this statue.
Yeah, he's stolen the Gotham statue.
Yeah, and they have that one panel where Commissioner Gordon is like, "Chief, open fire in the plane." "I can't, Commissioner. Feeling dumb." I mean, feeling numb. I'm sorry, folks. If we ever, the next time we do an episode, expect me to keep ripping on O'Hara, because this guy's a tool.
Yeah, O'Hara is.
And first of all, if the Commissioner would care to notice that his, chief of police has his gun arm in a sling for whatever reason. So unless he's ambidextrous, I doubt he's going to open fire and on the plane, and just the look on that Case did for Frank Gorshin's face, where he's sitting there with the tongue caught in his teeth, and he's like at the police. It just, that is creepier than all hell. But yeah, it's basically he's sprayed the crowd with an anesthetic gas. And I like how he mentions, "I almost left in the laughing effect, but then I'd be ripping off the Joker."
Yeah, I know.
And then they're flying away, and then you get something you never saw full head masked minions in the show. I mean, you certainly see themed minions for every villain that showed up. I mean, even King Tut had like Egyptian servitors.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's the Riddler's flying off, and it's like, "Chief, do you recognize that sound?" "Indeed I do, Commissioner." And it's like the Batmobile out of effing nowhere.
Yeah, that is effing cool, except I do have a little bit of a problem with how the Batmobile is colored here. The panel where, "Wow, that you really meant business, Batman." When Batman's coming down from the burning plane.
Yeah.
The Batmobile, I get that this is loosely based on the show, and the colorists and all that are going to have their own, palette to choose from. The Batmobile in the show was black and red. In this panel, the body of the Batmobile is blue, and I just don't.
It was probably a mistake on the colors.
Well, I don't think it was a mistake because I think it's blue in a couple other shots. I don't dislike it overall, but it doesn't have the same feel to me as when I see that black and red.
Oh yeah,
That's really all.
I love when and again the dialogue, like the Burt Ward and Adam West had great chemistry together. Like they could just play off of each other, and I love the dialogue where Batman's thrown a batarang from driving the Batmobile, managed to throw a batarang hard enough to hook itself onto the tail of the plane, and he's climbing up the line, letting Robin drive the Batmobile, and Robin's like, I could go up the line fast. Yes, but I've studied aerial physics, Boy Wonder. Besides, don't you want to make use of that daytime driver's license? Boy, do I! I love the dialogue in the show, like stuff like that. And he's like, and again, this dialogue this should have been an episode of the show. It's just this is exactly what they'd be saying.
Oh yeah. Oh, take a look at the scene in the next panel. Hot pads make me shake a tail. Still he confounds us with his criminal conundrums. How does he prepare these things so far in advance? He's a criminal mastermind. If only that brain could be harnessed for good ends. I mean, that is something that all three of those characters, O'Hara, Gordon, and Batman, would have said on the show. And again, the narration. Can Batman and Robin work out the latest problem from the Duke of Dilemmas? Will the answer lead even more danger? Reading that, I hear those voices in my head, and it's absolutely awesome. The next panel for this, what I assume is the second part of the story here, is Alfred sliding down the bat pole.
It's not Alfred unless he's wearing those Coke bottle glasses, in my opinion. But
well,
tomato.
But okay, JT, are you going to put your glasses on sliding down a bat pole? What if they come off?
I'm just saying, it's not Alan Napier.
Technically, it is, but
well,
okay.
I was like, to the Alf pole. I'm British. And then he makes reference to the switch that triggers the costumes.
Yeah.
And then you get that nice wide-angle shot of the Batcave with the Bat decoder, the Bat espresso machine.
Yeah.
Really? Bat coffee? I suppose it's Bat toilet paper. Robin, get the Bat plunger. Alfred's tacos are working their way out. It's just... That's one of the things, like, I love the show, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I gotta just... Do you have to put your name on God? It's the Bat chair, the Bat pencil.
Yep. Well, it was Bat branding back then.
Bat milk. But yeah, it's you got the atomic pile and everything. There's you see the Batmobile on the turntable and everything, and just again, gosh, this parachute riddle is really vexing me, Batman.
Yeah.
And it's just well, you get a shot of the Bat computer, which you never really saw anything. Well, obviously, because it's on that side of the room where the camera always was.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I love the Bat cave in this, and then they go. You see, they're working out just like in the show. Hot pads, stolen brake pads, a car, and you. It's just that's how Burt Ward, how they would work it out in their heads. And even Alfred gets into it, and
oh yeah,
and then I just love the absolutely manic look on Bruce Wayne's face. He's like, a dancing cat, a hot pad is also a desirable venue, and he's just like, oh, I'm on the jazz now.
Yeah.
And it's like, shall I enter into the Bat computer? It's like, why are you going to do that? He's already found it in the newspaper. I mean, print isn't dead yet, Boy Wonder. And I knew as soon as you see the name on that club, it's like, gee, who's the other guest villain in this episode?
Julie Newmar.
Or Lee Merriweather. One of the two.
No, it's Julie Newmar.
But yeah, I love the they of course they go to the Meow Wow Wow Club, which God bless the '60s.
I know, right?
And they do the up the wall gag. Now,
Yep.
I don't know for certain. I'm thinking this is implied to be Bela Lugosi, because apparently, because Bat or Robin goes, "Holy double cross," and all of a sudden Dracula, "What? Where is a holy? Ah, so I did hear footfalls on the wall." And they have that whole back and forth, and they end it with Drac looking up his exquisite taste in capes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was just meant to be a Dracula thing, but
Well, there was that. Wasn't it a movie or animated feature, Batman versus Dracula or something or other?
yeah, that was. Well, I mean, yeah, it's Dracula. Obviously, I'm just wondering if it was a celebrity cameo, which what the window gags always were. Would that have been Bela Lugosi? So
Yeah, probably.
I still love his one comment. Is probably besides the cave saying, "Yes, I just arrived from the old country to find men dressed as bats outside windows. I thought I was getting away from competition."
Yeah.
And they busting into the bar. And I love how. And I got the first issue in print and the digital.
Yeah.
So if you're reading the guided view, Robin's looking through his binoculars, and well, he's zeroed in on one sweet bird, and it's like, oh, look, Batman on the bar, the statue. I'm gonna look over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Robin's a perv.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like they bust in because clearly this is an illegal venue, and in no way has a liquor license and business license. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Batman!" And they're practically begging him to do the Bat 2C. And then Catwoman shows up, and some decidedly more modern-looking thugs than she ever had in the show. Because most of the time they just had sweaters with their names printed across them.
Yeah.
But you got some thugs, and well, they proceed to try and throw out Batman and Robin for wrecking the party.
Yeah.
And again, with the pow and the zam and the boosh sound effects.
I love the whack that Riddler gives Batman. You solved it first, but no one does that to me.
Oh yeah, coming up.
And then the next panel, you win, Cat Zam. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen Cat Zam in the show.
Yeah. Because, I mean, from here, they team up with Catwoman to take down the Riddler, who's trying to collect these lost art pieces from this artist that, the great Vilcoop. Because if you look later on where he shows up, like, what he's stealing is the dancing cat from the art machine, and you just hear Catwoman go, just perfection. Yeah. And I love the little affectations that all the villains had in this show, and it's represented full force in this comic. But yeah, Catwoman. Also, before this, like they take Catwoman to the Batcave, and how did they get her into the Batcave without her seeing where it is? Bat knockout gas, and then they give her a shot of Batwake.
Yep.
And here, Batwoman, would you like a Bat mint on your Bat pillow? Would you like to have a Bat nap? It's just, I love this thing about the show, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying. But yeah, and Batman, of course, has a Bat 3D printer.
Yeah. The only other person I know of that has a 3D printer, even to this, I'm sure a lot of people have them, but the only person I've actually ever seen one have one is Jeff Dunham.
Yeah. Does that make Jeff Dunham Batman?
He does have one of the 66, or he does have one of the 89 Batmobiles, I believe.
Yeah.
He could be. You never know. And of course, the issue ends with Catwoman getting away, but the dancing cat she took was our replica. Ha ha ha.
Oh yeah, no, I love that they're just Cat Zam.
Yeah. No, this first issue was an absolute blast to read. I really enjoyed everything about it. It was so great. It was so interesting to see these characters not on TV and in a different art form. Absolutely amazing.
No, it was great. I mean, just the look of like defeat on the Riddler's face, where Batman and Robin show him what the last piece of art was, which was a bat, and he's like, "A bat? Are you freaking kidding me?" Because
Yep.
I mean, and that's just the way the episode ended. You know, Catwoman running off, and then we get the the art for next week, which again, one of my second favorite villains in the series was Burgess Meredith as the freaking Penguin.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And issue 2 is the cover of it's Sub-Zero for our heroes. The Penguin teams up with Mr. Freeze. I personally never really cared for Freeze in this series. He wasn't what Paul Dini and them turned him into. He didn't really have, okay, sure, he had the ice puns, but I mean, hell, even the Terminator can pull off ice puns.
Yeah, no, it's again, it goes back to the show how you had
Yeah.
3 different guys. I mean, there was George Sanders, Eli Wallach, and Otto Preminger, who I believe they were going with in this one because has this decidedly, as the art goes on, you got decidedly more German Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And as much as I love and respect Commissioner Gordon, the 66 version is a boob. I mean, just the dialogue between him and O'Hara. You see cargo ship captains called to complain, Commissioner. And he's like, indeed, Chief, saying they can't enter Gotham Harbor to deliver supplies. I can't imagine what could stop. Great Scott, an iceberg. Really? Are the cops in this city so freaking blind that they didn't see a giant-ass ice cube sitting in the middle of Gotham Harbor?
The Penguin! Oh no. And this story, and okay, I haven't read a lot of the old Batman stuff pre-New 52, but maybe you can explain this, because I know you've read a lot of comics in your 30-something years.
Yeah.
Why the hell does he keep calling himself Emperor Penguin?
Well, no, just in this issue, they call him Emperor Penguin because...
But also, I remember a couple of reviews of Detective Comics that Steve has done here in the pull bag, that there was a Emperor Penguin.
Oh, there's a new character who...
Okay, it's a new...
He tries to take over the criminal underworld of Gotham City, and then he kind of mutates himself, so he's got, like, Nightcrawler blue skin and super strength, and calling himself Emperor Penguin, because I think he's like a Russian type of gangster or something.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I mean, the art in this issue, written by Jeff Parker, again, art by Ty Templeton, who a lot of his... if you look on his wiki on the Comic Vine, he's done a lot of work on the Batman animated series comics that they put out through the 90s and into the early thousands. He's worked on Simpsons, Ultimate Spider-Man comics, such like that. The one Black Mark he worked on, the Avengers United They Stand. But that was just like the tie-in comic. But yeah, it's a giant iceberg in the middle of Gotham Harbor, choking off traffic, and the Penguin, you gotta love how the United Nations worked in the world of Batman 66. He's gone and gotten this iceberg, which isn't even a click wide, recognized as a new nation.
Yeah.
And
so great.
I love this. Like you get like the sexy Chippy, Penny flies down in one of the flying umbrellas, and he said, here, this says that it's official and incredible, Chief. I think this is legitimate. And you hear Neil Hamilton's voice, doing that great Scott in his voice when you read this stuff. And then you get the first, the Batboat, which, honestly, if I had Make You Stupid money, I would buy one of these.
I don't remember it looking the way it does here.
Oh, no, that's straight up the art. I mean, it showed up between, was it seasons 1 and 2 of the TV show in the Batman movie? Yeah. Which I think was like the first, and then, they endlessly use the shots of them pulling up on the dock, which apparently isn't a hidden dock, it's just sitting out here in the open. Anybody could walk up and take the boat.
Sitting by the dock of the bay. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
But yeah,
boy.
no,
I don't know. I don't know. It's just, again, it's one of those things for me where it's not that I dislike the art on the Batboat. It wasn't that I disliked the art on the Batmobile in the beginning, and since then I saw other panels of the Batmobile where it did look the correct colors. It's just I don't remember. I even watched the 1966 film a couple of months ago, and I don't remember the Batboat looking like this. Maybe it was just I don't know. Maybe I'm just forgetting it, and I'll have to watch it again. But
yeah.
yeah,
But I like how Batman, you know, gets off to climb up the backside of the iceberg, and Robin, hops onto the boat to help the commissioner with the Penny, who's like, "Oh, a man!" Just throwing herself at Robin and laying one on him. Batman gets up there and he starts fighting with the goons. And as soon as I read this panel, it went from being Burgess Meredith Penguin to Burgess Meredith Mickey, where it's like, Mickey loves you. You're a disgrace, a bum. You're gonna eat lightning and crap thunder.
yeah.
And I love how it's just goon, hired goons on their sweaters. I mean,
I was waiting for his name to be Bob the Goon.
Robert, you're a great disappointment to me and the rest of the gang.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then Batman gets arrested for assaulting a diplomat, basically, because, it's Penguin, and of course he's got this shit set up already. And then he tries to get away, and all of a sudden, Ice Beam.
Yeah. And then Mr. Freeze takes over.
And I was like, that dude's got some epic eyebrows. Like, seriously, folks, when you see the panel where, and it's the Otto Preminger Mr. Freeze, this dude has the biggest, bushiest eyebrows you've ever seen on a supervillain.
I know, his eyebrows could have their own comic.
Yeah. No, maybe not quite as epic as Dr. Wily, but close.
I don't know. And I love that, when we get to that second part of the story, the Cape Crusader, popsicle prisoner of Penguinia. I love that. I thought that was hilarious. Oh,
yeah. And then you just have that thing where the Penguin just walks up and just cracks Batman upside the head with his umbrella.
Yeah.
And then it's like, there it is. It's like, here, this is how ineffectual the police is in Gotham City, where it doesn't look good, Boy Wonder. The Penguin has everything figured out. 'Tis the day that hope died, to be sure. And I was like, why are you a cop? You see one guy get frozen in ice, cracked upside the head with a pimp cane, and all of a sudden, all hope is lost.
Yeah.
And then Robin dicks off for somewhere and return to the Penguinia, and apparently they have like a negotiator or something for the shipping captains union, where our companies are ready to meet your demands of passage, Mr. Penguin. And of course, is Barnacle Bill his given name?
Yeah.
And then Robin's going around and around in the bat thing, and Penguin goes to taunt Batman.
I love the Bat sub.
Oh, yeah.
I really love the Bat sub. That is so freaking cool.
First of all, the Bat sub reminds me of, like, the Bat sub from TAS. And then they got a little Batman 89 in there, because what pops out the front of that sucker but a giant industrial strength scissors?
Yep.
And then, it's just, Batman's radio works through the ice, because it's Batman.
Yeah, that's pretty much the reason we could say for almost everything in this comic. It's the damn Batman.
In this version would be the gosh darn Batman.
Yeah.
And then Batman was like, Boy Wonder language. And then, of course, he's got like this giant underwater torch attached to the tip of his sub, which, burns out of, first it burns.
You said torch tip. Oh, God.
First of all, you got the Penguin sub from the movie attached to the bottom of the iceberg, and Robin burns the docking clamps off from that. Then he burns a hole large enough to into Batman's cell. Now, I don't know how physics would work and all that, but I imagine that Batman might be drowned
Yeah.
with the water that's going to come possibly rushing in. But again, it's the goddamn Batman.
Yeah. The only thing that is missing from this panel where Robin breaks into his cell is on the bottom part where the narration is, but Mr. Freeze, we had his belt. How could he possibly escape? When you see the two of them running, instead of it being ice, I wish it was the Bat Transition logo.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been so freaking cool.
I love that. And just before they go, Robin's busting the bars, and, Batman is like, "Oh, Commissioner, no need to worry. I'm on the job." And then there's Chief O'Hara. All of a sudden, hope is restored and full speed ahead. We have criminals to arrest.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, would you just pick a new career?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you got Mr. Freeze and the Penguin are running away with Penny. And, quam, boff, kick, smack, scattered goons like 10 pins. In fact, you don't hear it, but they should have had like bowling pins effect. And I love the fact that they only managed to get the one bag of money from their extortion. The Penguin and Mr. Freeze, because Robin's like, "Hey, you forgot this." And then it's like, "Whack, I thought you were carrying the money bags. I have to carry the freeze ray." And when I read that part, I heard Nathan Fillion's voice from the DC Comics Robot Chicken special.
Oh my god.
Because he did Green Lantern, and he did, look it up on YouTube, folks. It is seriously one of the best bits in there. Because then, Captain Cold and Icicle show up, and how do you high school rejects keep building all this shit? But, it's... it's Batman the End thing, and then we get our first backup story.
Yep.
Written by Jeff Parker, art by Jonathan Case from the first issue.
Yep.
And it's has one of the original villains from the series, Chandel, who is I forget, was that played by who played he was one of the original villains on the show. He's like a evil pianist who would like hypnotize people and steal everything.
Yeah.
I think he was played by Liberace, but I'm not certain.
Because the whole point of this episode is this part of the issue, this second story is the siren sings.
Oh yeah, Chantel Chanteuse.
Yeah,
So Bruce Wayne's out on a date, being a Mac Daddy as he always is. Yes, I just said Mac Daddy. Let's move on. And
do you like fries with that?
Yeah. And then I have no idea who they base the appearance of the siren on, but damn, she looks good.
Yeah.
And then it's of course Bruce Wayne being Batman. He of course immediately recognizes her as being a villain. And his date is like, I just gotta go make a call. Well, you better not leave me alone tonight or you're gonna be all wet. And, ooh, pun, because she has a jug of water in her hands. And the siren hypnotizes all the guys in the audience to steal all their ladies' pretty stuff. And, all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I don't know how hypnotism actually works. I would like to think that it would be more than 30 seconds of her singing before these guys go all ape shit. It's like, sorry, honey, I love you, but I love her more.
Yeah.
And then, Batman swings in and she tries, hypnotizing him, and she's like, you must be using earplugs. And he's like, no, I'm using a secret Tibetan meditative technique. Because who needs goddamn earplugs?
No. I remember when I first got this issue, I liked the first story, obviously, the Penguin and Mr. Freeze, but this second story I just don't care.
Well, by the end of it, I mean, Batman, of course, defeats the siren, who's also ensorcelled Chandel. And then everybody starts seeing some trippy stuff. And even got a reference to the surf episode here. And by the end of it, the sirens taken out by Bruce Wayne's date. He's like, "You did it, miss." Like, he almost gives himself away, and then, and then there's O'Hara, because, he's got to do something to earn his paycheck. I mean, this guy is about as effective as Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Oh, God.
Because he's like, "Everyone keep your places till we can return your valuables to you." And then you see that I've read that they are working for kind of a subtle overarching story arc in this, where you see this dude in a big fur coat, "I'm satisfied with the first dry run of the formula." And I don't know if this is the Sandman, who is a villain in the show, or if this is going to be the 66 version of Scarecrow. Because for the effects that happened when Batman was, there was like this hallucinogen in the Siren's throat medicine. It's reminiscent of, it could be reminiscent of the fear toxin that the classic Scarecrow likes to use. So, possibility. But yeah, you see this dude, just pimping away with his two ladies, and the end, ?
Yeah.
And I mean, overall, this second issue, this first story is totally an episode that never happened, but it's so awesome all the same. And even this backup, because it's just Batman. No Dick Grayson, no Alfred,
no nothing.
Yeah, no need for the bat signal, no Batmobile. It's just Bruce Wayne. Probably had his car parked outside with a costume in the trunk, because who doesn't take extra clothes with them sometimes when they go to work?
Well, let's face it, Bruce Wayne takes extra clothes with him everywhere in this style of... Yeah.
He's probably got like a collapsible costume and tucked into the back pocket of his trousers.
Probably. All right, issue 3, the Joker sees red and Batman scrambles Egghead.
Wah, wah.
That's what it says.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
I love this cover.
Oh yeah, and
I love the main
Batman
cover.
picking up Joker.
The Joker up. Yeah,
and I love how Allred does the Joker. So you see the little wisps of hair coming through the Joker's makeup, which is one of the things that one of the affectations of Batman 66 that I loved in the show is, like, Cesar Romero. Like, years later, I looked this guy up. He was very much like the Latin lover sort of actor, with a lot of the roles that he played, and his stash was his trademark. And you don't trim the stash.
Yeah.
So they pack the white face makeup over it, and it pops through, and that's even something. It's not nothing we'd ever review in any GCRN show. But I should mention quick, like, they have this guy Axel Braun who does all these comic book based foreign parodies, and Randy, I forget his name, the actor that got to play the Joker in the Batman XXX parody, which, according to a couple people I've talked to, and certainly Mike Dodd has mentioned this, talking about you can get the DVD and hit the feature to watch the movie without the porn elements, and it's like an episode of the show. And I think it was Randy West. He played the Joker, and he's got a stash, and they just put the white face makeup over it so it pops through like that. And I was like, that's awesome. That they go that far to emulate it. So again, art.
Ordinary day in Gotham City, but what's this?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right off the bat, Batman '89 reference.
Yeah, I just. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's Joker trolling through Gotham City with a giant inflatable balloon. This couldn't possibly end well.
Well, no, we don't necessarily know it's the Joker, because what's this? The Red Hood appears.
Well, I misspoke, but you know what I mean. It's like
this first story in this issue because of how they did the mystery with the Red Hood, how the Red Hood looks, even bringing in the Red Hood to the 66. Because I don't remember. It was just the Joker in the television show, right? They never mentioned Red Hood, did they?
No, that was never an element of the Joker.
Right. But I
before.
love how because in this story they're basically combining the modern element of the Joker with the classic element, and how what's going on, who is this guy, and
Oh yeah,
finally
well they
that mobile looks proper.
yeah, I love how they do that. No, we're going to the facility that studies and tries to rehabilitate our most dangerous enemy. Oh, so you're going to the Gotham State Pen? No, they're going to the Arkham Institute for the Criminally Insane.
Yeah.
And this, and again, I'm going to say it right now. This is one of my favorite issues so far, because I mean, okay, first of all, we get, we got the Red Hood, you got that '89 reference, we get Arkham friggin' Asylum,
Hmm.
and then we get Dr. Harleen Quinzel.
Yeah.
And I like how they're doing it. Like I have no doubt with down the line they're gonna go full on. How's it going, Mr. J? With her, but I mean they're gonna play that up, and I love how they do the walk of shame
Hmm.
past the villain in their cages. I mean, first you got Shame, who's like this evil gunslinger.
Yep.
The egghead, who's the exit is that way, Batman.
Yeah.
The Riddler, and then was it Marcia, Queen of Diamonds, I think,
Yeah.
something like that, and or Minerva, something like. But or no, Marcia, Queen of Diamonds, Carolyn Jones. Just looking on the wiki here, but yeah, you get that. Also, if you got the print issue right next to it, is a advertisement for Beware the Batman, which, as I read this morning, has been pulled from the schedule, not unlike Young Justice and Green Lantern, the animated series.
Yes. Let's not even go
Yeah.
there. That's a
Stay
whole
true
other
to yourself, Cartoon Network. That's all I'm going to say.
Stay true to you. Stay true to yourself as far as what you build, destroy, build.
Yes. Although I am a fan of Andrew WK's music, but that's notwithstanding.
Shame on you.
Hey, everybody likes something.
Shame on you. People always give me grief for liking Nickelback. Shame on you.
So, what's your problem?
Anyway, back to the
One
issue.
thing I gotta mention about the art in this is Batman and Robin. How in every like the animated series and all the comics, once the cowl goes up, you don't see pupils anymore, and that's what they do with Batman and Robin with their masks. It's
Yeah,
just
because it's not. This isn't Jonathan Case this time around. It's somebody else doing
this
the
one.
art.
It's Joe Quinones Jr. If I hope I pronounced that name right, and it's a more I'd almost say animated kind of look.
It is,
But it's
yes.
very solid art. I mean, see, Dr. Quinn takes them to meet Professor Overbeck, who's got this looks like a hair dryer
Mhm.
sort of thing. I guess it's some sort of preventative medicine for psychotics. And they have this absolute next page. They have this absolutely beautiful panel, almost painted looking, of the reflection of Dr. Quinn and Batman in the glass of Joker's cell.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
And I love how she's like, "Patient J, you have visitors."
Yeah.
And it's Batman laying it down, and then all of
You
a sudden,
said Dr. Quinn, and it was all I can think of. All I can hear in my head is Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour would make a sexy Harley Quinn. I'm just gonna say it, because if anyone's seen Wedding Crashers, you know she's still got it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then so they're looking, and there's like Joker sitting in this chair facing the wall away from them, and all of a sudden, interesting, he just pops out from the side. Oh, you should see the look on your face. And again, Quinones' art, he perfectly captures Cesar Romero right there.
Yeah.
Like, that is Caesar right there. And I love how she doesn't have any guards. I mean, I know she's got Batman and Robin with her, and you know her tenure as administrator of the Institute's not going to end well, because she just hits the big-ass red button next to the glass and lets the Joker out.
Yeah.
After Batman's like, "Look, I need your help. Do it for society. Do it for you." And the Joker's like, "Oh, what do I get if I help them?" And Quinn's like, "I could finally approve your comedy night. Deal!" because just the look on his face where he's like, well, what do I get? And then they go to that night at Gotham Cemetery.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that it's a very subtle reference to the people that Joker has, injured, maimed, and possibly killed, where Robin's like, you still have no idea who might have a grudge against you, because the whole idea with the Red Hood is that he's demanding the Joker's head by midnight, or he'll do more than, douse the citizens with some, like, gas. It'll be decidedly more dangerous the next time, I would imagine. And he's like, boy, Dunda, do you realize how many people that could be?
Yeah.
And I do like the way Quinones art is like how it's not your standard at night in this creepy location, like, and the art is like the color is still the same palette,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like this dark wash over everything, to simulate, the fact they're in a graveyard at midnight in Gotham City.
Yeah. And I love the next couple of panels when they reveal who the Hood is and who the Hood isn't.
Well, I love, like any good supervillain, he's come prepared, and he's brought Joker's own stone casket.
Yes.
And then that full-on shot of the look of what the fuck in the Joker's face in the Red Hood, and it's really lowering, like, how it's like the question early issue, like, how do they set this stuff up? Because the stone sarcophagus, not casket, that they're on, the whole thing plus a section around it of the ground just sinks into the ground on an elevator shaft. And they go down, they fall it out into another section. But yeah, the reveal of who the Hood is again, what the hell?
Yeah, and I love that. I love that top panel. We have you cornered. Surrender. God, you must have put one of your blasted tracers on me. I love the Batmobile busting into the wall, and the bottom part where Joker's like, enough of that. Go back to your Go back to the superior version of you.
Yeah, because we should mention. I mean, spoiler alert, but the Red Hood turns out to be Professor Overbeck, and I love. He's like, where am I? What am I doing here?
Where is my mind?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So because the Batmobile apparently has like infrared laser headlights or something that helps him crash through the wall. Because he's like, did someone turn the heat up in here? The structure is being superheated. And then there's every man for himself, and he's like, yeah, go back to being the superior you, which. Again, that's like such a classic thing of comic books, never mind Batman. It's like, here, just slap this mask on and you'll be somebody else. So, yeah, it's just all of a sudden the Red Hood is like, oh, let's mess up Batman. And I love the art over the next couple pages. Like, it's just some of the way that like not necessarily the inking, but the way the color is applied, that it's got this almost painted quality, at least for a couple of panels, like specifically, where you get the fight sound effects and, Joker drop kicking Batman and then playing peekaboo, Robin getting a headbutt from from the Red Hood. And I love that Robin is not as intelligent as Batman, but still pretty smart. Why would you punch the possibly armored headpiece of the supervillain? Because he just swings up and he lets like a right go, and he probably breaks his hand. But his Batman, of course, being smarter, he's like, get the helmet off. And then the doctor's back and. Oh, look, it's a Joker minion with a giant mallet. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that's true. If only it was a girl.
Yeah. But yeah, and then there's like the whole thing, like once the Joker found out who the professor was and how basically his meditative chair somehow took the mental imprint of the Joker and then applied it to the doctor. It's such a Batman trope that, but the process was thwarted by the manic mind of the Joker. And there's no brain, so volatile, so unstable. And he's like, "Oh, you're making me blush." So, and then okay, probably the next story. What did you think of the teaser story in this issue?
I don't know. I know that Vincent Price was Egghead. I just don't think Egghead translates from television to 2D that well to me. Like, yes, I hear Vincent's voice in my head when I read this, but at the same time, I'm one of those types of people that I care about the main rogues.
Yeah.
And Egghead to me, this is probably going to sound blasphemous to a lot of people. Egghead to me is he's not a main rogue. He was in the show, and that's all well and good and everything else, but you don't, like, sure, a couple of times I heard Vincent Price's voice in my head, but not through the whole story. It just kind of, I almost wish that they would write these instead of having two individual stories. I wish they would write them as two-parters, kind of like what they did in the first issue.
Yeah.
I wish they would do that, and they will do that when we get to issue 4 here in a couple of minutes, but I honestly wish that they were two-parters with one villain or two villains teaming up or something like that instead of having two individual... Like, the best part of issue 3 for me is the Joker story.
Oh, yeah.
End of story. The rest of it, I don't know.
The backups, I'm sure we'll see more of these with some of the lesser tier villains. I think down the road, they're going to have... there's an issue with the Roddy McDowell Bookworm villain, which was one of the one-shot villains that I really enjoyed from the show. And I would imagine that they're going to use King Tut at some point. Mm-hmm. And that's the another... he was only a two-parter because he showed up in two different stories in the series as, Professor Bruno or McElroy and King Tut, who greatest supervillain origin ever. He takes a hit to the head.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and it's a very, I wouldn't say lackluster, but the backup. Well, I enjoy the character of Egghead. I hear Vincent Price. The art, which is done by Sandy Jarrell, it's just kind of off-putting because I know this is supposed to be Vincent Price, and there's that one shot where you get that first full look at him in the one panel, but from there on, it just kind of loses that Vincent Price. The Vincent Price-ness. Although, and it's one of those ones. It's kind of for those that came in late kind of moment, where you see it's Egghead has captured Batman and Robin after gassing them at an orphan circus show. Although he does have one great villainous moment where one of his henchmen, he's like, "I just want to help, sir." He's still wearing his utility belt. I was thinking you could make extra sure that he doesn't get out.
Yeah.
And they do make a lot of egg puns here, and then...
Well, that's because he's friggin' Egghead.
Yeah,
I mean, but he's supposed to make a lot of egg puns.
In this one moment, though, I should mention, in this one moment, he turns into, Blofeld from, James Bond, where he just hits a switch and he straight up pops his minion.
Blofeld from the worst James Bond movie ever.
You Only Live Twice?
Wait, wasn't he in,
Well, he was in Blofeld...
The crappy model film? The guy that only got one shot at it?
Yeah. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which,
yeah,
I had gone back and I've watched that movie again since we did. Quick aside, check out GCRN's M-Wire James Bond series. Shameless plug. I have gone back since we did that. I've gone back and I've watched it again. It's not as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but it's still not the it's still not the worst. But oddly enough, a lot of people, and I've read this and I've heard this on some other podcasts, apparently that's supposed to be the closest to any of the Bond films have come to actually translating the original novel.
Yeah.
But back to the show. But yeah, he straight up Blofelds his minion out of the out of the egg ship, which is basically a blimp with the propeller as an egg beater. And yeah, so and then he Blofeld's Batman and Robin, who are trapped in this upside down, in an egg-shaped prison cell, which is now endlessly spinning one way or another through the air. And I love Robin. Batman, I've got my gag off. I could try to chew through the ropes. No time, Robin.
Yep.
And then
I do love the appearance of the bat plane, though. I thought that was kind of cool.
the Bat Copter.
No, that's the bat plane.
That's the Bat Copter, Mike. They even call it the Bat Copter.
Oh, I couldn't tell because it has bat wings, and I couldn't really see the blades because the blades are not really.
Yeah. Then again, it's a bat something because Batman.
Yeah, it's a bat something because bat branding.
Well, yeah, Batman puts that shit on everything.
Yeah.
Bat mayonnaise, bat bread, bat honey baked ham. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, you're done.
But yeah, so yeah, they get out of the egg prison cell and by using physics and Robin's circus training, and they remote control the Bat Copter over to them so they can get on board, and they fly back to the airship. And how do they take it over again?
They slip inside, I think.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, Robin grabs the.
Sorry, Egghead. We've commandeered this vessel. Now, if you'll excuse us, above target, coming in for landing. So they do some weird science on the roof of the blimp.
Yeah. Basically, Robin takes control of the giant fin. I have no idea what that.
Oh yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
Although I did like right before they fly over Gotham Prison and deposit the bad eggs back there. Egghead is probably my favorite egg theme pun in this story. It's like switching to exterior cameras.
No, my favorite is the very end. Expletive deleted.
Yes, yeah, no, that's the best one. It's just like. And it's probably not even an egg-themed pun. It's probably just go beep yourself, Batman.
Yeah.
No. I think overall, I did like the Egghead story, but the fact that we get a lot more modern elements of Batman woven into the '66 narrative. Like I said, we get the '89 Batman reference. We got the Arkham Institute and Dr. Quinzel. So, and I hope
plus the TASIs.
Yeah. So I'm digging that, and probably so far these 4 issues, that's probably my favorite one. Just the next one, it's really cool and all, but I think that the next one, it really kind of forces the whole, hey, this is Batman in the '60s idea.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the next issue, we're number 4. Oh, missing my page
number
there.
4.
Number
4 is the final issue we'll be talking about today. It's The Hatter Takes the Crown and Clock King Strikes. I guess I was looking at the wrong cover at the time, because the cover I saw and the cover that people will see... Well, no, the cover that I saw for my written review of this issue that I did on GeekCastRadio.com was the variant where it's Big Ben.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think. Let me see if I can find that variant. But I knew when I grabbed the images, because I usually grab all the images for Steve to make the covers off of DCComics.com. When I did that, I didn't realize that, yeah, that one's the right one. And then I grabbed the other one, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not the right cover. What the heck is going on here? And I got it at the comic shop, and I'm like, oh, crap. Because I wanted the other one, because I like the other one. The other one is...
Batman coming off of the London Bridge?
Yeah, right by Big Ben. It's this one here.
Okay.
I really, really like the variant cover. Coming off the London Bridge, and... it is the London Bridge, not Big Ben, I'm sorry. But I really like that cover more so than the regular cover that we have here. The regular cover's all right. It's got the one of the famous London buses. It's got Big Ben in the background, and it's basically Batman and Robin. Robin's upside down, falling into a hat, and it's the Mad Hatter. Written by Jeff Parker, art both by Jonathan Case and Sandy Jarrell. I like these two stories because these are part one, part two.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's great. Just automatically think it's great. And I really, really enjoyed reading both of these because you have Jervis Tetch, the Mad Hatter. Was he ever in the show? I don't remember. I haven't seen a lot of the... Okay, he was. I don't remember seeing a lot of the old episodes. It's been so long. So...
no, the Mad Hatter and the secondary villain in this issue, the Clock King, both showed up in the series. And I think as notable as the Mad Hatter became in later years, specifically in the TAS series, I think he only showed up I know he showed up the once. I don't think he showed up twice.
Yeah.
The villains. But the Mad Hatter was here. And I love how they start the story in this, and it's a trope that was in the show a lot, and Robin makes reference to it, and he's like, gosh, it's hard to believe we're finally taking an actual fishing trip. Whereas they would just go, oh, I'm sorry, Aunt Harriet, we can't go to the recital, we've got to go fishing.
I have to say this one thing. I'm so glad Aunt Harriet hasn't... She didn't show up in this, did she? I don't remember seeing her.
She was in the first issue.
Well, okay,
right before Alfred took the bat pole down, he shoos her out of the study.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that now. I think Alfred's enough. I mean, I know in the old show it was Aunt Harriet and Alfred and all that, but
it was the climate of the 1960s. You couldn't have three guys living together without somebody going gay.
I know.
Before, I mean, back then that was a bigger problem than it really was. I mean, it's not who you love, it's how. So let's move on. But yeah, I love Batman. They walk by Alfred's, the sitting room, and he's listening to the radio from England. And I love how Batman listens to it for all of 3 seconds. He's like, "Oh, there's a supervillain in London. Let's go." You gotta love how Batman's works. Apparently, somebody stole the royal guards from the palace. Somebody stole one of their hats, and even Alfred's like, there's nothing there, boss. It's just some prank of some irreverent youth. And of course, Batman doesn't hear that. It's the workings of that harvester of headwear, the Mad Hatter. And the look on Robin's face, he's like, oh boy, we don't have to go fishing. And then, of course, it's that you'd think they would use the Bat plane. No, Batman flies Bat first class.
Yes, he does. And we meet the British Batmobile, Holy Phantom 5.
Oh yeah, that was I love. And did you notice who got off the plane before Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much: it's not the Bugs. And then they meet Detective Inspector Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Who is a cousin to Commissioner Gordon or something like that. Yeah, I think he's supposed to be a cousin. What's worse is that there's a British Chief O'Hara.
Yeah, that is just place that they could just. Let's just look at the Batmobile for a second. This is as close to getting, because the front grille has the bat ears. It's that silhouette of the Batman. But this is probably as close as we're going to get to my of all time design personal favorite Batmobile is the classic from the 30s through the 50s of where it was this. It's a car with that giant bat face on the front with the fin on the hood. That's for me, that sticks out as being my favorite because it's so simple and so cool. But here we get a very close version of that with, they even have the weird dome light and the two little, I don't even know what those things are on the roof, but yeah, it is the British Batmobile. And it does look pimp as all hell.
Oh, it does.
Because it's the Batmobile. It's just...
Because it's the Batmobile. That's right.
It's the goddamn Batmobile.
Yep.
But yeah, and I love the one panel where they're driving to the Tower of London, and they got the steering wheel on the right side. Alfred's just sitting in the back, just being all cool. Batman's leaned over the steering wheel. He's like, like it's like a kid driving a car, and Robin's just got this look on his face. Is like, what the hell? Because clearly Batman is going, because he's got the jet booster going.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen any movie or film of the streets in London, there's no way he could be using the jet booster on the Batmobile without wrecking some shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But clearly they've called ahead and cleared a path for him. And
it just goes to my point earlier about how celebrity these guys are.
Oh, yeah.
In this time.
And there's a very good example of that coming up in the story.
Yeah.
Where Batman ends up chasing the Mad Hatter. But yeah, we go to the Tower of London, and there's this beefeater giving him the lowdown on the crown jewels, which Batman has figured out that's what the Mad Hatter was doing because he's just basically, the Mad Hatter has got this weird form of kleptomania and OCD that he might be there casing the joint for a crime, but damn it, he's going to steal a hat regardless. And that's what clues Batman into that there's something else going on. And the Mad Hatter hypnotizes people, or actually, he doesn't hypnotize you. He hypnotizes the beefeater, and then he just spins the most marvelous bullshit you have ever heard or read in your life. Yep. Where there are all these tourists, they're like, "Hey, that's wrong," and then somebody says, "Oh yeah, there's this lady. Why do you like hats so much?" And then the goons are like, "Oh God."
Don't get him started, yeah.
And this just proves like this version of the Mad Hatter is a pimp, because he spins, like I said, the most delicious bullshit you have ever read in your life, and no one raises a hand to stop him. Yeah. There is like 50 people in this room watching him steal the crown jewels, and while he's talking about hats and what they do for people, everyone's like, you know what? I'm not going to do nothing, because this guy is right.
Yeah.
And then, he runs away. And I love how he tips the hat, and everyone, he tips his hat and says, "London is home to many fine haberdashers. I suggest you all visit one before you leave. Good day to you." And everyone just gives him like a standing ovation as he leaves. This is the greatest supervillain of all time. And then one of the goons gets a batarang to the face.
Yep.
And I love his reaction. "You can't be here. Justice knows no bounds, Tetch."
Yeah, exactly. I love how they escape, though, in the giant hats.
Oh, yeah, the giant hover hats.
That's so
this is... you gotta love supervillains and their modes of conveyance.
Yep.
It's like... That just doesn't even look like... Those things gotta have a couple of dozen gyro stabilizers, because those things look like they just tip forward as soon as you moved. But yeah, they fly away in flying hats, and we have... Has the Hatter outwitted the Caped Crusaders? Are the Gotham Guardians out of their element? Yeah. And again, this is another one I picked up with the digital things, because I love how... with the digital chapters, I love how they end... Because if you wanted to read it as a two-parter, Mike, you should look into getting the digital ones, because that's how they're written.
Right, yeah.
Whereas, and they do that sometimes in the comics, like you have that sting like that. But yeah, and you get into the next part, and holy hovering headwear, Batman.
I know.
I was like, yes, we finally got it. And then, so Batman throws a bat hook again with enough force to pierce the outside of the possibly metal-made craft, and it gets hauled away. And then Robin takes off in the British Batmobile with Alfred, who...
One drives on the left, Master Robin.
Yeah, that's just the look on Robin's face where he's like, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." Yeah. And I was like, sorry, it's like, Alfred grew up probably in London. Why wouldn't Robin... Well, he doesn't wear a mask, and there's probably union rules for superheroes, so... it's just like, Alfred, your shotgun. But I've lived here, and I know the streets. Your shotgun.
Yep.
And then Batman's falling around. And he lands. I love this. He lands on the side of one of the classic double-decker buses, and there's the British guy. Here now, what's all this?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'll waive the fee because you're a crime fighter. Just follow that thing. They've stolen the crown jewels of England. And then the bus driver's like, what? Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
And then he says this line, which just sounds like the most, again, some beautiful bullshit. Everyone clears a path for a red bus. If it's got sirens and flashing lights, maybe.
Yeah.
And then there's the thing where you talk about the celebrity. It was him. Batman is in London.
Yep.
It's like, there's somebody else that dresses like a flying rodent and swings on a rope.
Yeah. That's the problem that I had. Well, it's not so much that. I think it comes later in the Clock King story. There's a line where, it is him. It is Batman. Is he going to attack us? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No.
That's the only out of all four of these issues, the only issue I take with Parker's writing is that line right there.
Yeah.
The whole point of the 60s series is that Batman and Robin are loved by everybody. This isn't a friggin' 90s Spider-Man cartoon where J. Jonah Jameson hates him. I was like, seriously, is someone really going to ask if Batman is going to attack an ordinary citizen?
Well,
really? Come on. I mean, British people aren't that dense or dumb.
Well, I mean, a quick aside, like their comedian Christopher Tice has this joke about douchebag credits and how, Bruce Springsteen could walk up to him, punch him, and Titus would apologize. Same thing with 66 Batman. This guy could go up and bitch slap the Queen of England, and everyone would ask, what the hell did the Queen do to Batman?
I know.
And, it's a Batman's trying to keep up with the Mad Hatter, and there's this one awesome panel where Robin's driving the Batmobile literally like a bat out of hell because it looks like the ass end of the car is about to explode with all the flames.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a lot of gas.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then you see Batman and the Batman and the Mad Hatter are flying over the Thames, and Batman gets Robin to basically ensure the Mad Hatter, who has all the crown jewels, lands when they cause it to crash. It lands on the bridge because they'll lose the jewels forever if they land in the drink.
Yep.
And I love the look of, as the Mad Hatter's flying his hat, his one remaining minion, because the other guys have gotten taken out, has just got this look of, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, on his face. That's it, Alfred, aim the bat beam. It's not the bat, reciprocating laser saw or something, just the bat beam just sounds so plain. Like, come on, Batman, you gotta have more cool shit than this. And also the fact that they couldn't ship the Batmobile overseas, so they called ahead in the almost a day it'll take them to fly there first class, and they somehow had the Batmobile pre-constructed before they landed. Yeah,
that's a little...
It works, but...
It works,
and they get out of the car, because there's police and people standing around. A perfect shot. Thank Bruce Wayne's butler, Batman. Because they clearly don't know Alfred. And I love how early in the issue they mentioned that he's on loan from Bruce Wayne. Like, Alfred's a friggin' library book that anybody can check out.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, and as the Mad Hatter is hauled away, who isn't handcuffed, by the way, he steals O'Hara's cousin's police hat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just nuts.
Nuts. And so you got the next...
Next part of the story is the Clock King strikes.
And who did
the
art in this one?
Yeah, the art, Sandy Gerald did an amazing job with the art in this.
Yeah.
She really did.
Even gets the white lines over Batman's eyes like they always had on the cowl in the show, and it's just, I love how this one guy says something and all of a sudden there goes Batman's OCD mind again.
Yeah.
Like he's either got, I know he's got OCD because for the amount of crap that he's got in the Batcave, who wouldn't have it? I think he must have some like really cool superhero version of Asperger's. Because
Wow.
everyone's like, did I say something untowards? And Robin's like, no. His brain is putting together facts and clues in a way we could never comprehend. Or as I like to call it, pulling shit out of thin air.
Yeah.
And then Batman just stands up, you must excuse us. There is another super criminal afoot in London.
Yes.
To the British Batmobile!
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, it's just... Okay...
It doesn't hold the same meaning as the real Batmobile.
Yeah, it's still to the Batmobile, and it'd be like, fuck yeah! Because anytime I hear that in the show, my inner 5-year-old goes off like that. Because it's the goddamn Batmobile.
Yep.
But yeah, and then all of a sudden somebody says some completely random thing, and he remembers how Big Ben struck twice, and that wasn't even on the hour, and of course that means there's another supervillain.
Yeah. Once if by land, twice if by sea.
Yeah. And he's like, I am convinced that Hatter had a technical-minded accomplice, someone who's signaling him from the clock tower. And it's like, mind the car, Alfred? With my life, sir. Because Alfred's like, I ain't standing outside in the middle of the night in London. I know what goes on here.
Yeah, it's... Yeah.
And then, of course, this random Bobby, London cop, Batman and Robin, here to tour the clock tower. Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. But I did like how, because my only exposure to the Clock King is TAS with Tempest Fugit.
And you got to wonder whether that character was inspired by the Clock King, who did show up in the series at least the one time.
Right.
Because, I mean, they rotated through Riddler, Joker, Penguin, Catwoman more often than not.
Right, yeah. And I find it interesting that Tetch and the Clock King are brothers in this.
Yeah, because you find by the end of it, Clock King was just set up there to help the Mad Hatter with his crimes. And he's like, screw it, minions, we're going to do both. We're going to watch out for my brother and fix Big Ben.
Yeah.
Because... Okay, if there was any villain in Batman 66 that has everyone seems to have OCD in this comic, but the Clock King has OCD.
Well, yeah.
And even I love the fact that he bitches out his minions for complaining.
I know.
He's like, Ford, don't you dare speak ill of Jervis. His only failing is he reached too far.
Yeah.
And, and I love that Batman and Robin see the silhouettes. I'd know those shapes anywhere. Batman and Robin. I was like, well, it ain't Sid and Nancy. And I love the kind of subtle Black Widow reference to number 4, the female minion. How she's got like the leather catsuit and the sexy hip belt of clock faces, but when you look at her from that one shot when they're looking out the face of Big Ben, looks very much like the classic Natasha Romanoff Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
And then again, number 7 speaks ill of the Mad Hatter, so oil to the face.
Oh yeah, oil to the face. Yeah. Overall, I like the 2-parter here. I thought it was good. I think that they need to write them like this more often.
Oh yeah. And what the one thing I gotta mention right here is like in that page, like after 7 gets the oil to the face and Clock King throws those switches, there's that shot of Batman and Robin in the shadows, and we're looking out through the part of Big Ben, and that is so Batman 89. That is Batman and the Joker in the tower.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That was an awesome homage. Yeah.
And then we get giant clockwork robots, the Night Watchman, and of course, like Batman and Robin are supposed to be intelligent. They are not wearing bat pulverizer rings. They don't have any bat brass knuckles on. and yet they both decide the clearly metal-armored automatons.
Yeah.
Batman, you fail.
Yes, he does. All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with ratings, final thoughts, and close out the show after this.
All right, enough pictures.
This press conference must be brief, ladies and gentlemen.
You're lucky the dynamic duo will talk to you at all.
You there, Mr. Merrick of the Gotham City Times. May I be of service?
If you please, to take off the mask to give the better picture.
Great Scott, Batman, take off his mask. The woman must be mad.
Please, Chief O'Hara, all of you. This young lady is a stranger to our shores. Her request is not unnatural, however, impossible to grant.
Impossible?
Indeed. If Robert and I were to remove our masks, the secret of our true identities would be revealed.
Completely destroying their value as ace crime fighters.
Sure, ma'am. Not even Commissioner Gordon and myself know who they really are.
In fact, our own relatives we live with don't know.
We are back here inside the pull bag, and this is kind of funny. I did not plan this way, it just kind of happened. This is episode 39. Batman premiered in 1939.
Holy shit. That's kind of cool.
Come on, Robin, you can do better than that.
Holy unintended consequences, Batman.
There you go. All right. So, as always, we have, and I've been meaning to go back and link these into each post of the podcast, and I never do, but I probably should. You can go over to geekcastradio.com and search out rating system, and it'll pull up our post on the GCRN Universal Rating System. We go from a 0 rating to a 5-star rating, and they all have different meanings and everything else. For issue number 1, what are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a 4.5. The only quibble I have with that first issue is the art. I really like the art, but it just it wasn't solid enough for my tastes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it had this very, I don't want to say soft, and I want to say ethereal. It didn't, because of the art and the coloring, it just didn't have that solid, firm sort of feeling you get with a lot of comic book art. So,
yeah, I will agree, and I know that Jonathan Case and the other artists remedy this as they've gone along, but I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, which is I really liked it. I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the art, but it takes 1 star off if you can't get the classic Batmobile color correct. It's black and red, not blue and red. I mean, if you want a blue and red Batmobile, look at the look at the 80s cartoons and stuff.
yeah.
What about issue 2? What are you going to give that?
Issue 2, I'm going to give that a 5. Like, again, it's this subtle, or not subtle, it's got this, all the setups of a classic episode of Batman 66, particularly with O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon being clueless. It's like, "Oi, Commissioner, there's an iceberg in Gotham Harbor. You know, how did that get there?" It's like, really? Really?
Well, like you said, the Freeze and Penguin story could almost be an episode of the show, and they were that dense on O'Hara was that dense on the show. So at least they're being truthful to the characterization.
I know, but you know, I like that the story and everything. We get the debut of a '66 era Bat vehicle that we never saw in the show or the movie. You know, in the Bat sub, and the backup was fun too. I mean, like I said, it's a backup story that like I said, they say maybe they're going to go for an overarching story with whoever the man in the fur coat was.
Yeah.
But I dug that, and the art in that one by Case was really good, especially when you get to the hallucinations when Batman's fighting the Siren. I'm going to give that one. It's a solid 5 for me.
I really want to give issue 2 a 5, but I can't. simply because there's a backup story that has nothing to do with, and I didn't care for the backup story at all. Like if they would have come out and said, "Hey, it's the Scarecrow. He's gassing Gotham with fear talk." I probably would have given this a 5, but I'm going to give this a 4-star. I'm going to take a 1-star point off for the backstory because I really like this first story with Penguin and Freeze. The backup is just not. It's just not for me at all.
No, that's cool.
Number 3, what do you give that one?
Oh, that's a 5.
I do have to agree. Even though when I read the Egghead story, I didn't hear Vincent Price in all of his Priceness glory. I didn't hear his voice in my head when reading it because I don't. Maybe it's I haven't seen the Vincent Price episode in a long time. I just don't remember it that well.
Yeah, if I was to read
I do agree, the story does read very well, even though I couldn't hear, Vincent Van Gogh's voice in my head.
Yeah.
I will still give it a perfect 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, like the first story, it gets a 5. The backup, I'm going to give it a 4. I really liked it, but again, whereas a lot of the other stories, like Frank Gorshin's Riddler in the first issue and Cesar Romero's Joker, I had to make myself hear Vincent Price while reading that story. It didn't come off as naturally, and I just automatically hear, Romero's voice in the Joker story. So,
oh yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, I completely agree. As far as number 4, the Hatter takes the crown and the Clock King strikes. I'm gonna give it a 4. I really liked it. I don't know if I can give all of these perfects because while I enjoyed it, I know why I'm giving this a 4 is simply because of the fact that the writing. Jeff Parker has been absolutely awesome to this point, and the writing really. I'm not even British, and the writing insulted me, saying that one of these British people says, "Oh, it's Batman. Is he going to attack us?" That just pissed me off, and I'm not even British whatsoever. And it's like, the whole point of this era is that Batman is a beloved hero by all. Sure, later he becomes a vigilante because he goes more dark and everything else, but I find that very unbelievable that anyone would say, "Ooh, it's Batman. Is he going to attack us?" I mean, you'd have to be friggin' Bizarro to say something like that.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to do a Bizarro-like speech pattern at this point.
No,
but
don't. Just don't.
just don't. Down, JT, down.
Yes.
No.
All right.
The
what else are you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say I'd give the story itself. It's 4.75 stars. Like, again, there's certain elements like, okay, it's Batman. Like, does he have to fight first class? Like, they're just little nitpicks like that, and they're very, very small nitpicks that take me out of the story. Or take me out of giving it like a full 5. And again, I love that one shot of like the bell tower from the 89 Batman. I love stuff like that. I dig the fact that the Clock King is like, we all have a obsessive compulsive disorder. My entire family has it. It's like, oh God, I don't even know what mom and dad were like.
Yeah, no,
but
not at all.
I'd give it like that 4.5, 4 3/4. I dug it. The art was good. I love the design of the British Batmobile.
I love the design of it, but as you said,
it's just to have that particular body on the Batmobile and not have like the giant bat face on the front. It's just, come on.
Yeah, really.
But that's just me. But yeah, that's and again, so far this series is every main story, and even that the Egghead one and the Siren one, like all these stories, these could be like lost episodes of the series.
Yeah, I agree. I know it's going to get better and better and better. I actually tweeted Jeff Parker and I asked him, so Please tell me, when is Batgirl showing up? That's all I'm waiting for now. You've corrected... I didn't say this to him, but I'm just saying this now. You know, they corrected the colors for the Batmobile. Now we just need to see Yvonne Craig in the purple Batsuit. Please, hurry up. He said soon. Very soon was his answer.
And then Mike's sitting there, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, it's just, you know what, I actually went, quick aside, like, I have never seen Yvonne Craig in anything outside of Batman 66. And based on listening to a podcast that I think you listened to Better in the Dark, I had gone back and listened to this series within the series called The Rivals of Bonds, where Derek and Thomas, the two hosts, look at all these other spy films that sprung up out of the James Bond fanfare of the 60s. And there was the R-Man Flint film. So I went and I bought the 2-movie box set, and Yvonne Craig shows up in the sequel. Yeah, and she's doing this go-go dance, and I was just like, okay, pause here, rewind, watch it again, because I'm just like, shake it, baby. Like, that woman was sex.
Yes, she was.
Just saying.
All right, so before JT drools all over the microphone, where can they find you online to interact with you?
You can find me on Twitter at JT from Saskatoon, and I'm on Facebook.
All right, you can also find me on Twitter at TFG and Mike. You can follow at Geekcast Radio Network. Up next in the poll bag, we have episode 40, which is the Bat Books issue 24s. So we'll be talking about 0 Year, Nightwing with the City of Flame, Batgirl Wanted, and all that good stuff. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
Later.
Certainly not. Batman and Robin are fully deputized agents of the law.
Support your police. That's our message.
Well said, Robin. And no better way to end this press conference. Thank you, and good day.
Batman. Never mind. Come on. Everybody out now.
The Poll Bag is having its very first character month, November 2013. We will face punishment. Join your host, TFG and Mike, as he brings in Ryan the Uneven Flow, Canada's #2 Punisher fan, and the body counters themselves, Jake and Dane from Punisher Body Count. This crack team of podcasters will give you in-depth discussions on stories of Frankencastle, a.k.a. the Punisher. Punisher Month runs from the Poll Bag episode 41 through 49. We begin with Born and end on the Trial of the Century. You can find this special event inside the Poll Bag every Wednesday and Saturday from November 2nd through the 30th in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics and accept your punishment today.
For the love of God! You are not a nice person.
You just heard the latest episode of The Poll Bag, GCRN's comic book review podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. You can send us an email, feedback@geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter @GeekCastRadio. So until next time, unleash the geek in you.